Okay, it is December 4th, Thursday, 2014, and this is part two of the video about self-love, what it looks like, how I love myself. And this is examples of what I do for myself, and I might get a little repetitious, but I find repetition actually helps people to really get it. So I left off with disengaging from people who just want to share their misery and don't necessarily want to receive any information on how to help themselves. Um, Sometimes, it's good to be a listening ear for people, but when they start telling the same stories over and over and over again, I'm like, okay, it's not healthy for me to keep listening to this, and it's not healthy for them either to keep telling the same story because they end up recreating it. Our words are very powerful. First, you have the thought, and then the word, and then the action, and they all need to be congruent with each other also. So, the biggest part of self-love is having compassion for yourself, and that is making everything that's going on within you okay. It's all okay, because it really is. This is just where you're at. And if you don't want to be where you're at, the first thing to changing that is accepting that that's where you're at. You can't do anything else until you accept that you're unhappy or you're angry or you're upset with something, whatever it is. Just accept that this is where you're at and then move from there. So that's having compassion for yourself, making it okay. And then you can start to explore, well, where is this unhappiness or this anger or this upset? Where is it coming from? We always, let me back up. We mostly most of us want to point the finger and say, oh, you did this to me. But look, we've got three fingers pointing back at us. So everything always stems from ourselves. So we're angry or upset or with ourselves for maybe allowing someone to have power over us. We've given our power away and allowed ourselves to be victimized. We've chosen to be the victim, and I know it doesn't sound like it's a choice, but it really is. We give away our power all the time to other people. A lot of it is unconscious, and it's about bringing awareness to this also, to curtail this or stop this from happening. So compassion being the biggest component of self-love, like I said, is allowing yourself to feel everything you're feeling without pushing it away, because what you resist persists. It's just going to keep coming back until you deal with it. So deal with it in the moment as best you can. And if you can't do it in the moment, then make a promise to yourself to come back to it. And I'll tell you, if you break that promise, it'll come back anyway. And you'll be that much more upset with yourself. So be kind to yourself. If you make a promise to come back to something, make sure you do that. So exploring what's there. How do we do that? Well, it's good to go within, ask that question. You will get an answer. Make sure you're open to receive it. And whatever it's pertaining to, that is when you become aware of what it is that you're upset or angry or in fear of, then do your best to say, okay, well, this is how I'm feeling, this is where it comes from. And the compassion also, if you can have compassion for yourself, that means you're in your heart. The ego can't do that. The ego knows what love looks and sounds like. We've all taught ourselves what love is, the ego or the lower self. So the lower self is very good at um, acting like it's in the heart, but um, sometimes you can deceive yourself into thinking that you're in your heart when you're really not. So be aware of that. And just know that's a tendency that we all have. We've all done that. I've done that. And it's crucial that you be honest with yourself about where you're at. So when you can bring yourself to a compassionate place, and I find it helps to put your hands over your heart, that can get you into your heart space. Thinking about a grandparent, a child, or someone you love dearly, someone who means a lot to you, that can get you in your heart space. And then when you're there, then use your hindsight or whatever it is, whatever tool you need to use to get you back to the place where you were dealing with your stuff, and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for any time you've ever made yourself wrong, when you've made anybody else wrong. Just forgive yourself in that moment for whatever it is that's coming up. Forgiveness does not work if you try to do it from the ego. The ego does not have compassion for itself. And you'll know because it won't work. You won't get that warm fuzzy feeling that you will from forgiving yourself. You won't be at peace with yourself. You'll know if forgiveness works if you've done it correctly, because that issue won't be an issue anymore. It won't keep coming back and slapping you in the face. And be kind to yourself as you do this. If you haven't practiced this kind of self-love before, don't expect that it's going to be a walk in the park and easy to do. It's not. Let me correct that. It wasn't for me. It took a lot of practice, a lot of... it just took a lot of practice for me to do this, and I can do it in the moment now. And it doesn't take that long, really. This can develop very quickly, but like I said, you've got to be honest with yourself about where you're at, and be okay, make it all right to be where you're at, and then go from there. Then explore what it is that's making you angry or in fear or whatever. This is also a great way to stepping through those fears, is when you start exploring what it is that's making you afraid. So I hope this has been helpful. I don't think there's anything I'm leaving out here. Forgiveness is definitely key in this. And when you forgive somebody else, you're forgiving yourself too. But I tell you, it works quicker if you just do it for yourself. You can do it out here as well. Judgment. Judgment's a big one. Stop judging yourself for being wrong for things. Give the judge a break and talk to your judge. You don't have to talk out loud to yourself, although that can be helpful too. You can do it all in your head. When the judge comes up, and that's like hearing, oh, you should be doing this, or you shouldn't be doing this, or this is wrong, this needs to be something else. And don't push away those thoughts either. The judge has its opinion. Let the judge have its opinion. You just choose not to engage with those thoughts. That is part of it. It's okay to have the thoughts. I still have judgmental thoughts. I just choose not to engage with them. And I don't necessarily tell people that I have the judgmental thoughts that I have. I just don't allow them to rule my life. I don't allow them to take on a life of their own and spin into some scenario in my head about me being right and others being wrong and all that. We're all right. We're all right with who we are, what we're going through. And so your mind just needs to hear, hey, this is okay, because it is okay. And that will allow you, making it okay will allow you to make the changes that you need, that you want to make, hopefully. So again, I hope this has been helpful. There's probably some other things I can say, but I'm going to leave it at this. So, namaste, namasko, aloha.